the weather held out, and then
Yeah.
it got pretty serious.
Okay.
But,
I'd like to call to order the Town of Fraser Board of Trustees meeting on Wednesday, September 17th at 6 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Adam Quicklin,
Peggy Smith,
Julie White.
Louis Gregory.
Katie Souls,
And Brian Cirkvenick. Could I have an approval of the agenda with one modification? We're just going to add, under updates, we're going to add a review, I don't know what the word is, of the Winter Park Film Festival.
okay, great. So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Could I have an approval, a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes for September 3rd, 2025, Resolution 2025-0907, Resolution 2025-0907, also, St. Louis Landing, PNA, letter of commitment. The previous is execute certain documents in ROW expansion on Clayton Court and acquire new ROW across 201 South Wapiti Drive. That's all.
So move.
With the one change that they need to use the updated contract to buy and sell.
I'll work with them to make sure that it's up to date.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. At this point, we will move on to open forum. This is for business not on the agenda. If you'd like to speak to the board, we'll go to the audience first. You'll have 3 minutes of time.
Parnell Quinn, Fraser. I'm here on behalf of several citizens that weren't able to make it tonight. Members of the town council and fellow citizens, I stand here on behalf of fellow citizens that are unable to be here, as I said, with a clear message. The people of this town will not be bullied, silenced, or stripped of their rights behind closed doors. Legal executive sessions you may have are to discuss buying, selling, leasing property, if open discussion would harm the public. Receive legal advice, to consult with your attorney about specific legal questions, certain specialized matters, confidential matters, employee hearings, such like that. Colorado is not a suggestion, it's binding. Colorado law is not a suggestion, it's binding. The open meetings law requires the government's decisions, especially zoning and land use, to be made in the open with public notice and participation. I'm not used to reading, I like to speak off. That's not what I get to tonight. Zoning laws are legislative acts. They cannot be schemed into secret executive sessions like what was discussed at the last planning commission when the council like you did at the last planning commission. The council retreated into the executive session and talked about zoning. The lawyer also mentioned that you were to ignore people when they were talking to you. I think that's a little rude of the lawyer. If you want to know how this was known, you guys left a lot of your meeting on the YouTube channel, it's still on. When the council retreats into closed doors to target a single developer or property owner, that is not governance, that is abuse of authority, and it is illegal. The actions violate not only state statutes, but also the constitutional rights of due process and equal protection. If this body continues down the road, every citizen here has the right to challenge you in court. The law gives us the power to void your actions, to force disclosure of your secret meetings, and to make the town pay attorney's fees with violations if violations are willful. If this council will not govern transparently, the people of Fraser will hold you accountable. Let me be very clear. You cannot change zoning in secret. You cannot bully our neighbors because you don't like their projects. You cannot take land without paying true market value. The law does not allow it, and the people will not allow it either. Now, on your eminent domain meeting that you're having this evening, as a property owner and as someone who believes in fairness, the Constitution, and the long-term well-being of Fraser, I'm here because the town has proposed taking a 50-foot by
seconds.
170-foot.
It's on the agenda.
This is not on the agenda. It's on the consent agenda. It should be on the agenda because it's a public matter, but you guys put it on. Down Fraser's proposed taking a 50-foot to 170-foot strip of private property, roughly 0.2 acres, to build a road on property for and property from other owners. for the
Mr.
strip
Quinn, you're
the
out of
town has
time.
offered. I'm sorry. Can you show me the law where it says I only have 3 minutes?
It was stated before I did it.
understand you have a courtesy from us, the civilians of Fraser, that we abide by the 3 minutes. Tonight, I'm not going to abide by the 3 minutes.
You can
I'm gonna
take that up.
continue on.
You can take that up. You
I
can
don't
send an
have to take it
email.
up. Show me the law,
Mr.
because
Quinn?
you're violating my constitutional rights.
This
of
meeting is
public
run
speech.
by the mayor. The
I
mayor
understand.
picks when
The
that
mayor is a
belongs-
servant of mine, as you are. You all
I have to
volunteered.
run this meeting and
You
I have
all
to run it
volunteered to be
efficiently.
public
I
servants.
cannot let everyone just speak as long as they want.
You have all.
You knew the rules when
volunteered.
you walked up
Well,
down.
It's a request, and I'm
is-
denying your request.
It's not a request.
It is a request.
It is not.
It is a request. Show me the law that says I only have 3 minutes to speak in public at a public meeting. Show me the law. Chief?
We
show me
can
the law.
follow up with you on that, Mr.
Are you going to
Quinn.
violate my constitutional rights of freedom of speech, First Amendment? If you want to take me outside, I'll go. Otherwise, I'm going to finish. Anyone else?
Can you tell me, who are you speaking for? I mean, you're up here speaking,
Mike Kent,
you had,
Bobby Emal,
could you,
Kevin and Greg, the homeowners of, why do I always forget those? Sun River Townhomes. These
So-
are all people that would like to have their voice heard.
Right, and I
And
understand.
you guys are violating their rights.
why
You're
aren't they
taking-
here?
Some of them are here.
Okay. Well, why don't you let them speak? Give them 3
Do we need
minutes.
to pull it off the consent agenda?
Oh, it's already been approved.
No.
So the real estate contracts, anything on consent agenda does have the option to be pulled off the agenda. Those are not eminent domain. Those are friendly condemnations. Those are voluntary agreements with the property owners. Each
Bobby's not threatening
contract,
me.
Bob stopped
Mike
by and
Kent's not
talked to me
threatening.
last week and he said, this is good. I would like this. I told him, we're gonna put this on a real estate contract, have it on the board meeting tonight. And he is fully aware. I've had a face-to-face conversation with
Okay.
Bob about that.
Well, I'll talk to them tomorrow, see how it is.
Please do.
I
I
can
can
tell you,
assure
Michael
you that,
Kent,
that
you're
everything
30
that's been discussed in executive session, it does meet the state statute requirements for that private discussion, and there are reasons for it. The board or the planning commission has no authority or no ability to change zoning in an executive mesh.
It doesn't matter.
session.
They're not allowed to have that conversation behind a closed door.
We have reasons and justifications that were stated by our attorney for that. to
They
be the
only have
case.
3 reasons to do it. They're not negotiating for purchase of property. They're not doing it for public good.
Legal advice for approaching things that could include litigation.
The
are
planning
eligible
commission
for
doesn't
those.
need legal
I'm
advice.
not going to argue with you,
Uh,
but I'm just stating that we have met the
Okay,
state
I'm
laws.
gonna
for
finish
those.
what I was saying about the eminent domain then. Then the rest of the people can speak if they want to speak.
You've clearly just used your time. If other people want to speak, they do get the 3 minutes. So that's the way that the mayor's running the meeting.
Can I have somebody else's 3 minutes?
You cannot transfer someone else's 3 minutes.
Somebody else want to read what I have written? A little hard to do, I apologize. It's fairly well written out, but. So this is about the property in,
Okay. Introduce
Can you
yourself.
identify yourself?
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay.
Brittany Burnett, Sun River Drive. Okay, I'm gonna take the 3 minutes. Now, the proposed eminent domain as a property owner and as someone who believes in fairness, the Constitution, and the long-term well-being of Fraser, I'm here because the town has proposed taking a 50-foot by 170-foot strip of private property, roughly 0.2 acres to build a road and property from other owners. For the strip, the town has offered $30,000. On paper, that might sound reasonable, but here's the reality. One, the offer ignores the true value of the property. The land in question is not raw dirt. It's the most valuable portion of a prime development site located in the growth corridor of Fraser. Point one, before the towns propose taking the property could support a mixed-use project with a drive-through commercial pad and 35 by 45 workforce housing units. That is a project valued conservatively between 10 and 15 million. After the taking, the remaining land is awkwardly cut off and essentially reduced to a residential site. That is not a small impairment. That is the destruction of the property's highest and best use. Under Colorado law, this is not just about paying for the dirt you take. The Constitution requires just compensation, which means the full difference between the property's fair market value before and after the taking. In this case, that means millions, not 30,000. Number 2, market rate housing is not public use. The town says this is all about providing housing for the common good. But let's be honest about what's being built. Studios at $1,600 per month, 1-bedrooms at $2,000 to $2,500 per month. At the same time, free market 1-bedroom units in Fraser are sitting vacant, offered at $1,300 to $1,800 per month. Minute and a half. Who are these new units serving? Not the restaurant workers, lift operators, or housekeepers making $15 to $25 an hour. These folks can afford $650 to $1,100 in rent, not $2,000 to $3,000. This is not public housing. This is not workforce housing. This is the town acting as a private landlord at above market rents. And under Colorado's Constitution, eminent domain cannot be used to take land primarily for economic development or to compete with private enterprise. Point 3. The road itself could be solved without a taking. If the town truly needs this road, then it has options that do not involve destroying private value. First, buy the property outright at its current asking price, which reflects its true market potential. If the road is so essential, then the fair approach is to acquire the whole site, not carve out the most valuable portion and cripple the remainder. Second, negotiating in good faith. Density bonuses, zoning relief, or land swaps could easily mitigate the impact without resorting to condemnation. But instead, the town is attempting a shortcut, taking the most developable price for $30,000 and leaving the owner with a remainder that is functionally useless. 4, the cost of litigation versus doing the right thing. I can second this as a private citizen. I feel like there is a lot being done behind closed doors, and I would love if the town had rather than gone down this road, approached the citizens that live there and had a straightforward conversation about the land, its usefulness, and the value and impact to properties.
Thank you.
So,
Good job.
thanks.
Thank you.
So just want to reassure, there is no eminent domain action on the agenda tonight, whether it's the consent agenda or not. It is referenced that the town may exercise eminent domain authority for things like right of way, but that is not that none of that is in the agreements tonight. What was approved on the consent agenda are voluntary agreements with properties along Clayton Court for pieces of land that are 5 feet in depth and up to 10 feet in depth for a street project that we were working on Clayton Court. We did get reached out by the attorney for the land that is all next to the Holiday Inn that's being discussed about she has some notion that the town was doing some eminent domain. We provided a response to her yesterday from our attorney team on that there's no eminent domain. There's been no trigger for the town to condemn that property now. What has been authorized by the town board, town staff, is for the town manager and the town mayor to pursue voluntary agreements for rights of way. That's it. That's all we've done. I just want to make sure that everyone's clear that that's all that's on the action. If the agreements have been read, the resolution has been read, it references that the town may exercise eminent domain. But if you look at the actual whereas, the action points, there's nothing in there about eminent domain. I just want to make sure that everyone's understanding of that. I think there's a miscommunication or misperception of what's happening here. And we have spoken with all these property agreement owners, and these agreements that are on consent agenda still requires those property owners to sign at a closing date for the real estate contract. So they have to show up to the closing and sign for those. And the possession and use agreement has to be signed by the property owner as well. Again, these are voluntary agreements. This has zero action on 201 South Wapiti, which is the land next to the Holiday Inn. I'm happy to answer any questions from the board, but just want to acknowledge that and just make sure that there's no misunderstandings or miscommunication of what is taking place tonight.
Good job. Thank you.
It's that simple.
Anyone else in the audience? Uh-huh.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jim Bockrich, Fraser. I What happens when these people don't come in and sign your contract to buy their land? Then what do you do?
So I'm happy to answer the question. So we're not required to answer, but I'm happy to answer it because it's obviously of interest to you all. So they've all agreed that they're good with this price. I have communication on emails back and forth with the property owners and face-to-face communication that they are supportive of this. If they end up not signing at the closing, then we can try to continue good faith negotiations to see what the issue was. Our requirement per state statute, per state law, is to engage in good faith negotiations first. And that's all that's been approved by the board for right-of-way acquisitions for Clayton Court and for the road that is anticipated to connect there next to the Holiday Inn, is to engage in good faith conversations and work towards an agreement for the benefit of the community as a whole for better access to the downtown area. If they're not there, once we meet that requirement and we state that we've tried good faith negotiations, we see that what they're asking for is unreasonable. The next step is to go through the eminent domain, and that will be a secondary approval process by this board that we do not currently have the authority to pursue right now. Does that answer your question, Jim?
Yeah, if they show up and sign it, that's their decision. If they don't, then you go from there. I personally do not agree with the dollars being offered to them. I think that's an insult to them when you consider everything else that sells around this town and in this county. That's very much of an insult, and that's how governments work. And of course, I understand people in governments and that, they love to do everything behind closed doors. Secondly, I guess I'm confused as to the reason for this road, or what you guys are trying to acquire this land to make a road. I'm under the impression that you guys are doing it to have access to the downtown development of that area. When I read at this thing here about all the downtown development, all you guys say, it's everything in here is to be a walking area, walk, 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 walk. There's nothing about parking, there's nothing about streets and all the cars. I personally believe the reason, that's not the main reason to have a road through there. I believe, from talking to everybody and what I know, is the reason we want a road in there is to relieve traffic out on Highway 40 coming through town. Well, the question is, why does all the traffic back up going through Fraser? I'll answer that for y'all. Because there's a light, a traffic light. Traffic lights shut everything down. So to me, if the problem is the light making such long lines of traffic through town, then the solution is to get rid of the light. And there's ways to do that. Roundabouts, spend your money on overpasses and stuff to take people's land and stuff and ruin lives and property and everything, to me is not the answer to serve Highway 40's congestion. Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
I'm Justin LaFrancois. I'm also in Fraser. I'm just looking to request any current plans for through routes in specifically the Sun River townhomes, but really anything that you have at this point or any planned development that's upcoming. Is that something you can make publicly available?
I can provide an update on that. That's all right. So I think that our engineering firms are working on a survey for that. Again, the focus right now is Clayton Court with, it's currently a 50-foot right of way and we need it to be a 60-foot right of way. So to accommodate the sidewalk, streetlights, parallel parking and drainage. We have not gotten to any kind of design work yet for that road. It's just been a preliminary discussion right now.
Is there any sort of documentation around potential plans or conversations that have been had? Again, we had a conversation with you about a month ago, and so we do know that there is something in planning. We just haven't really been told exactly what that may be.
We don't have any engineering plans for that site yet. All we have are, there's the stream of documentation as far as that being a dedicated right of way that has been used with agreements in the past to block off for emergency access right now.
Is there any way to make any of that publicly available?
Absolutely. And I've sent that to some, and I can redistribute that. If you want to,
I can send you an email after.
yeah, please do.
Okay.
And I'll get that stuff to you. So,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
And well, the comprehensive plan, doesn't it want to be addressing our our roadways.
It does
And-
include the connection there to
Yeah,
that light, yep.
and that's something that the public has a lot of input in, so.
Yeah, Gary, I don't know if the Sun River Drive connection is included in the comp plan or.
It is incorporated into our downtown vision plan as a future public access connection in the downtown area. As far as the steps to make that happen, obviously that's a separate process, but I would say generally speaking, our downtown vision plan does envision that as part of the public street grid to allow more connectivity through the downtown area.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Is anyone online? If you're online, you can raise your hand virtually. Okay. All right, we will move on. Discussion and possible action regarding East Grand Fire District update. Ryan Maury, Todd Holsworth, Ricardo Loza.
Hello, Ricardo.
I can do this correctly. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ricardo Loza, with East Grand Fire, fire inspector and firefighter. Let me just get this sharing.
Slideshow.
Presentation. So it's backwards. But, we can just do it from here before it takes.
Return to the presentation screen.
Yeah. I think that would be just fine if people can tolerate that. Yeah.
But then you can see.
From beginnings, upper left, speak on that. The slideshow, yeah. Did I do it? Nope. Okay.
See it on my screen, it's not. Let me try that again. Apologize for wasting some time.
That's
Share
okay.
screen. Window. Share. Okay, we can move forward from technical difficulties. We'll just do slide by slide. Like I said, my name is Ricardo Loza with East Grand Fire. We are here today with our chief, Todd Holdsworth, to present to you guys our annual report for the fire district, which you guys are a part of. We have gone around through and presented to the town of Winter Park as well, including the Grant County Board of Commissioners. It's just more of a transparency. I believe we have done this in the past before. This is my first time doing this. And so our 2024 district report to the town of Fraser. Just a quick overview of our boundaries. East Grand Fire District, Protecting District is approximately 209 square miles. And that includes the town of Winter Park, town of Fraser, unincorporated Grant County, which is included in Tabernash as well. So top of Berthoud Pass to the top of Red Dirt Hill, from Continental Divide all the way out to the boundary of Byers Peak, into the National Forest boundary there. So just a nice little overview. We were founded in 1968. Having Chief right now work on a little history write-up for our website, getting some photos. We are managed by 5 elected board members. They're voted on by property owners of the district. And that is our president, Garth Hine, vice president, Don Maurice, secretary, Rick Kramer, treasurer, Rachel Hocha, member at large, Ryan Barwick. The board employs our chief, Todd Holsworth, and our chief employs our 7 staff members in 2024. So that was Kristen Ryby, Fire Marshal Dennis Souls, no longer with us, retired. Training coordinator, Steve Waldorf, assistant fire marshal Ryan Murray at the time, current volunteer coordinator Jed Henry, myself, Ricardo Loza, and another fire inspector, Chris Cheevers. Really the biggest highlight for us is our 35 volunteer firefighters and officers that serve the community and rise to the call when we get that 911 call. A little bit more of an overview. Our fire protection district in 2024, we have 3.5 fire stations. That's headquarters station 1 in Fraser. We have station 2, which is in Tabernash, and now the new station 3, Lone Tree Station in Winter Park. The half station is shared by Granby Fire District, and that's on top of Red Dirt Hill on the entrance of the YMCA. With that, we have all of these trucks. We call them apparatuses, 3 engines, 1 ladder, 4 tenders, 2 wildland engines, 1 command unit, 3 utility vehicles, a restoration American La France parade vehicle still in service, and 1 Bobcat for, again, this is 2024. We have since then acquired a couple more, which we'll highlight here. Right at the end of 24, we did a purchase agreement on a 2024 Rosenbauer Timber Warrior out of Minnesota. It's a Type 1 engine, capable of, it's kind of a multi-tool fire engine. So it is a 4-wheel drive, our first and only current 4-wheel drive engine, Type 1 engine, 1,000 gallons a minute pump, and it has the capacity of carrying 750 gallons of water. It is spec'd out as a Type 1 with structure and wildland capacity, designed to really serve the area towards the mountains. So right now the current plan is to station this out of Lone Tree Station in Winter Park. With the 4-wheel drive capability, tighter or turn radius will serve those roads a little bit better in that area. This was a huge success right at the end of the year. If folks are not familiar with acquiring apparatus, these usually take a long period of time, a couple years, from speccing to ordering to all the fixtures. We were able to get this within a year. It was a demo unit, but it had 90% of what we wanted right off the factory. So throw on a couple logos and a lot of hose and a lot of training on this truck. Still currently out of service, but we're within a week of putting it in service. We have been training with it throughout the summer. So this is one of our, again, acquisitions from 2024 right at the end of the year. Talking a little bit about our insurance ratings. So Insurance Services Office, our ISO ratings for, we were evaluating the summer of 24 as a class 3 in hydranton areas, which the town of Winter Park and the town of Fraser are included. And that just means you have, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you have the most credit, 10, you're not meeting the requirements. Class 3 pertains to properties within a 5-mile radius, have a credible water source within 1,000 feet. The rural areas are considered, we were rated class 4, which just means they're within 5 miles of a station, but not within 1,000 feet of a credible water source. That being said, that's why we have 4 water tenders in our district to take the water with us. There's a lot of information online about ISO ratings. Some of the percentages calculated, it's communications and dispatch centers, our fire department procedures, and again, our water supply. talking a little bit overview of our financials for 2024. You know, the graphs kind of speak for themselves. If you're looking at the black being our fund balance and the blues being our expenses, 23 was a turning point where we started spending a little bit more than the years before. And that was the start of our new construction for that Lone Tree Fire Station in Winter Park. Also housed by EMS 24/7 with Grant County EMS. Again, that Type 1 engine, we're calling it engine 484, was purchased right at the end of the year. And I think one of the biggest highlights for us is we were able to make those major purchases and build a station and still end up with money in the bank and do it pretty much all with no debt. I think that takes a lot of credit to our predecessors in long-term planning, to our chiefs, and using our funds strategically to be able to do that. Let's see. East Grand Fire still contributes to, you know, we have a pension fund contribution, the volunteer firefighter pension. So we do $100,000 annual contributions. The state matches 36,000. For 2024, there's 38 pensioners and survivor pensioners, and we utilized $229,000 for that year for our pensioners. So it's one of the biggest, you know, it's a drawing factor for putting time as a volunteer. You are on a volunteer pension. So we have a half pension of 10 years and a full pension of 20 years. And this is still something that's being offered today. Talk a little bit about our impact fees. Again, the graphs speak for themselves. For our expenses, kind of went through the roof there in the year of 2024. So our impact fees, as some of you guys might know, are one-time collection of fees. We have been creating that fund balance throughout the year, rolling over, and knowing that we were going to be building a new station. So right at the end, 2023 into 2024, we were starting to spend some of those impact fees. With a little bit of the money left over at the end of the year, not fully exhausted, but as of this year, starting to try to build that up again. Just a short highlight there. Kind of the bread and butter, going more operationally, our call volume for the year of 2024, we saw a total of 424 incidents, and that just means somebody called 911 at 424 times, which our firefighters then gave almost 3,000 hours provided of service. The trends for the past 4 years were increasing, and from 23 to 24, we did see a small decrease. And, you know, we can calculate hours pretty good easily with the number of people that showed up for the number of calls. This year, just so that we're looking at trends accurately, we are at 374 calls to this date and on trajectory to break that 500. And so that just is with the continued growth, the demand, you know, you name it. Again, it's a 911 call that we respond to. So those are all of our incidents. Our firefighters wouldn't be able to know what to do without proper training. These are every Tuesday of the month. I would say pretty close to every week throughout the year. We do take some weeks off for holiday, or if there's a fifth Tuesday that warrants a little bit of a rest. So we have, you know, we did 48 in-district training classes. Again, our firefighters, on top of their call volume response hours given, they give a little over 2,000 hours in training to be able to provide a professional and accurate service out in the field. And, you know, our firefighters, when they when they join, they really get hungry for that training, and so they seek out additional training. So we are able to send folks to out of state or out of district conferences. So we train a lot with Granby. We train a lot down in the Front Range. That's where our marshal, our current marshal right now, Brian Murray, is in West Metro, doing some trainings down there, all to be able to provide a better service in our community. All in all total, almost 5,000 hours of training that our firefighters provided in the year of 2024. And you name it, anything from actual scenarios of a call to administrative tasks to, you know, we're considered in all hazards fire districts. So the miscellaneous calls that if you call 911, you're going to get law enforcement, you're going to get EMS, and you're going to get fire for a lot of that rest of miscellaneous stuff. On to the division that I work for day to day, the Fire Prevention Bureau. We recorded 835 unique or individual what we call activities, and that's listed on this graph down below. So they can be anything from a plan review, inspections, meetings, events, and one things that we wanted to highlight is that outlier off on the left there is going to be our short-term rentals. Started in the year of 2024, right at the end in around November, December. We started seeing a good rolling basis of applicants filling out short-term rental inspections. We were able to complete about 95 right at the end of the year. To date, we're at 1,300 inspections requested and 900, almost 1,000 completed. I was not able to get a breakdown of where the town of Fraser falls into that, but that's something I do want to highlight. I think we are working on a report for you guys to be able to capture the timelines of when people are starting these inspections, since they are a requirement now. Definitely taking up quite a bit of our energy is keeping up with those short-term rental inspections, but I think we got a good handle on it. We'll give you guys a good report next year for what the updates are. Division by zip code, Fraser conducted about 216 unique fire prevention activities, I would call. And again, with and I'll highlight our software, being able to break down data of where these new construction or these just daily or annual inspections that we're performing. We're not able to break that down quite yet. I can tell you anything that's related to new construction in relation to our total activity is about 54% is related to our new construction. So that's your plan reviews, your rough inspections for sprinklers, your alarms, and your finals. Anything related to building a brand new building that the fire department is involved with is unique. About half of that energy in the Fire Prevention Bureaus going towards new construction. Again, with data breakdown, we hope to have a better breakdown of that for all the jurisdictions, Town of Fraser, Winter Park, unincorporated. And you might notice we tap into a little bit in Granby with our previous marshal, Dennis Souls. Had certain certifications with the state that was able to help with schools and hospitals expansions in Granby. So we were able to be outsourced to provide a service even further outside of our fire district. So couple miscellaneous items here under the Fire Prevention Bureau's that wildfire hazard review. We were able to bring 2 new Firewise communities, brand new applications, Elk Run HOA, that's in the town of Winter Park, and Polk Creek Preserve, kind of between Tabernash and here. We provide that community chipping day in conjunction with the Grant County Wildfire Council. It seems like every year in the last couple of years we've had record-breaking chipping days, and so we were able to bring in a lot more material. I think they measure them by cubic yards on their dump trucks and how many dump truck loads they take. And 2024 was one of those record years as well. kind of like I mentioned before, our records management software. So those switched over to a company called First Do. They're kind of a capture-all for incident reporting, scheduling, trying to collect all of the data that we as a fire district can manage. So it also allowed us to consolidate a lot of platforms that we were using for different services. So this is just one platform that we were able to manage. We continue to try to make public appearance. Family events, the 4th of July parade, taking our LaFrance out to the sunlight. And even events out at the rodeo, we try to do family barbecues for our internal firefighters and give their families a part of our life. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of our annual report there, numbers and graphs and photos and stuff. Any questions for me or Chief?
Sure. You credited good planning. What's the big item in the next 10 years in your vision?
Our board is actually currently as well kind of giving us that homework to plan for our next 5-10 years. Our strategic plan is under review this year. We're under, we're in that 5-year strategic plan cycle, and 25 is starts a new cycle. So we're currently editing our current strategic plan.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's in our homework and it's being worked on right now.
It's in
Yep.
process.
Yep.
You got it. You guys are a volunteer fire department. Can you define that? And is that status in any kind of jeopardy as we grow, or is there a transition, or is that part of that bigger vision? Or
So we're currently what's called a combination department, so we're not 100% volunteer.
Okay.
So we do have some staff, our assistant chiefs, our training coordinators. As the growth comes and as we built the new station, we're in that growing pains period right now. I got hired on in 2024, and since then we've hired on 3 more staff members. And as folks start to retire, start to push a little bit of growth in other directions. So we fully commit to stay volunteer as long as we can. There are other departments in the state that are able to make it work, and we're watching them very closely. And so that being said, we rely on our volunteers for the call volume, and we're just not at the point where we can go fully employed firefighter. So we'll work out the balance between remaining volunteers supported by full-time staff.
my last question is, what can we do, or where are the areas of opportunity, I guess, to cooperate?
Yeah.
And enhance, whatever.
I mean, from my perspective, and you saw me on that on that org chart there. I think, the town of Fraser, where our headquarters is in the town of Fraser. And so I think whatever our leadership has done to communicate with you guys, I think it's been successful.
We're in good shape.
Mhm.
Very good. Excellent.
Could you go back to the slide where you break down number of calls?
Absolutely.
I'm just wondering, can you break that down into types of calls and seriousness of the calls? I guess, like a fire, like Andy Miller's place catching on fire versus someone calling about a fire alarm that's chirping in the middle of the night or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
can you break it down in terms of the type of calls that you're receiving and how many do you actually physically have to respond to?
We certainly are able to break down the call, that number we can break down. However, we can zoom in, down to the types of calls. All this data gets reported back to the national office, the fire administration. So we report everything back. I believe we sent monthly reports.
But like how many actual fires have we had? I guess is where I'm going with it.
Fire prevention. Bureau.
Well, no,
Yeah.
prevention's
We-
key, but
We got a really good fire prevention. I'm
Oh,
Todd Holsworth, fire chief. So that's one of the things that's coming up that for data,
We've been under a system called NFIRS for the last 40+ years, the National Fire Incident Reporting System. It has gotten very clunky and difficult to get data out of in reasonable periods of time, like years. We're going, as of January 1st of next year, everybody in the country will be going to what's called NERIS, which is the National Emergency Response Incident System. Got to have your acronyms, guys. That is intended to be a much quicker and faster way to get data out. The older, I think last year or maybe even year before, about the best we had was a breakdown chart from the NFPA assessments that we do, the National Fire Protection Association. And it basically broke it out between structure fires and alarm calls and hazardous materials. Unfortunately, the NFIR system just, we really couldn't do very much with that. And it would be a couple years old. Hopefully the nearest will do better. Yeah, we don't have a lot of actual fires, structure fires. You know, the one for Eddie Miller's house is our first one in, I don't know, a while, I have to think. But yes, we do go on a lot of alarms, the more alarm systems and fire sprinkler systems, various things. We do go on a lot of calls for that. Obviously accidents on the highway. You know, some of them are very easy, some of them are much more serious to deal with. Well, one thing what nice is we don't have a lot of malicious false alarms. Almost all the alarms we have they're not really false alarms. The system thinks something happened, reported it, we respond to it, figure it out. But we don't really have a lot of malicious false alarms, people pulling things or, you know, smoke, things like that. So we, carbon monoxide, we do get a fair number of calls for that. Unfortunately, a number of those are malfunctioning CO detectors. We did a great job of getting CO detectors into homes and into places. We did a really lousy job of teaching people how to take care of them. So we're working on that quite as much as we can. We're hoping some of the technology that's coming, you know, even the artificial intelligence stuff to understand what they're interpreting, all these different sensors. That's what a smoke detector is. It's a sensor, right? And be able to interpret those and say, that's not really alarm. That's really burnt bacon. We go on a lot of burnt bacon type calls. So, and it's bacon. It's, yeah, you know, you smoked your bacon. Okay. Yeah. So, I think we have some real good things coming up in the future. The nearest system, 1st of January, I'll let you know. We will be changing over starting in November, onboarding, as they say. So that's coming up for us. I think it's really just a matter of, you know, are we going to have to add staff? Yes. I mean, I think we'll gradually be adding certain positions. Clearly, we don't have a lot of volunteers in the resort area. With development going there, that will be probably a different staffing model to deal with that as time goes on. You know, the ambulance crews have been working out of that and appreciate being able to be up there until they can do something down here for Station 2 in the north end of the district. But
how many employees did you add for the short-term rental program?
number
of
so
employees for
basically,
short-term rentals.
Ricardo
Handling it.
and Chris, and then Andrea are the three.
Okay.
Ryan got moved up into the full-time fire marshal's position. And then we hired Jordan Ennis to be the new assistant fire marshal.
Okay.
So those are kind of the real quick shifting around that has been done. And all the positions do multiple things. They don't just do the short term.
Yeah.
We did hire some part-time fire inspectors, so they're a totally separate entity. We did capture some of our volunteer firefighters to be able to perform that role, since they were totally separate duties and responsibilities. We were able to hire them on as part-time employees to do these inspections as well. So they do have qualifications and experience, and if anything, it makes them better firefighters to be able to observe alarm systems and know what kind of fire extinguisher needs to be in a building.
Yeah. And to make real clear, the app that they were able to figure out how to do this with, we estimate we have 2,600 in the neighborhood of short-term rentals in the district. We can't hire enough people to inspect those. I mean, so what we have is an app that the individual owner really does the inspection. They document what they have. Detectors, fire extinguishers, exits,
COs.
see all the different things. They document all those. And then between the full-time and then these part-time, they can review it, check it, sign it. It's geolocated on their phones, inputs, and you know, without actually having to go into the field, which takes a lot of time moving around. You know, we're not a huge district, but it takes a lot of time. Well, we're coming up on 1,000. We got another 1,600 to go, and we're getting there. It's but we couldn't have done it otherwise. We're using Community Connect is the app that we're using. So,
Chief, what is the time frame you guys are seeing right now for a new short-term rental coming online to do the inspection?
you can probably answer
Yeah.
better than I can. I just get the attaboys when they send them. They say, "Hey, thanks for helping."
I think, yeah, right now with August, September being the town of Winter Park's renewal date, we had a high increase of inspections coming in. So anybody starting the process today can probably see something end result within 4 weeks. So we're still trying to keep up within a month. The town of Fraser and unincorporated county take priority since the town of Winter Park is shifting their renewal dates and allowing an inspection to skip a year and go into the 26 cycle. So it's alleviating the other inspections coming in that are due now, basically. So anybody from town of Fraser, we're still within that 10-day window. And that's been one of our inspectors' priority, is just keeping up with Fraser and Tabernash. Anybody else beyond that, it's, you know, they can wait probably 4 weeks, up to 4 weeks. But yeah, you know, 50 to 100 a day. So.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
Appreciate the
Thank you
update.
very much.
Sure.
If you buy it new, it's good for 5 years out of the package from the date of purchase. After that, you have to get it tested. At the 50th mark. You can get it tested for up to 10 years. But for 5 years, you're good. 5 years of testing, at 10 years.
Yeah. And as a practical matter, in a private home, there's no regulation for that or anything. I mean, as long as it's up in the green and it's got pressure and you give it a smack on the bottom every once in a while and it's not falling apart, there's probably nothing wrong with it. You go out on the boat and you get inspected, no, different thing. But nobody comes to your house and inspects. For short-term rentals, yes.
Yeah.
So the hardware stores.
Thanks, guys. Okay, marketing report, Sarah.
Anybody need to leave in the audience? Okay. Well, they're pulling up my presentation. I just wanted to announce that we got an award from the 3CMA, which is City Council Communications and Marketing Association, for the branding and marketing materials. So congrats, everybody.
Congratulations, Sarah. Good work. That's awesome.
And Adam, I tweaked the presentation a little bit specifically for you.
I don't know if I'm happy we called that out.
No, it's helpful for me too.
Okay.
Yep, that's what you want to click. That piece of paper, yep. And then full screen. There you go.
Here we go. All right, so this is just like the other ones. It's a quarterly marketing update, and we're going to go through the social media, website, active marketing campaigns, and other stuff. So first, the social media. These are just the definitions if you have any questions. So this is Facebook for the town of Fraser. The first number that you see, because Adam, you said we had 170 net follower growth, and you're like, well, what does that mean? So
we had 179 last quarter, and then this quarter we had 299. So you can see that there's increased following.
That's a war.
Nice. Okay.
Impressions, there was a slight increase, and then engagements was slightly down. These were our top Facebook posts, one from the Mural Festival. The other one was the groundbreaking of the bike park, and then another Mural Festival post. These are Instagram for official Fraser, that's the town page. Net follower growth was 237, which was a little bit down from last time. Impressions were up, and then engagements were up also. And the top Instagram posts, one was the point of view. It was kind of the one of the people constructing the bike park. They put a camera on their chest and rode through it. The other one was the Mural Festival, and then another video about the bike park. So the bike park is getting a lot of traction. So this is Explore Fraser Colorado Instagram. This is the partner to explorefrasercolorado.com. It's based on tourism. So you can see a heavy increase in the net follower growth. Impressions were up. That means more people are seeing our posts. And then also engagements almost
awesome.
doubled. So that was good too. So people are interacting with that stuff more. These were the top posts for Explore Fraser on Instagram. Mural Festival, a post about the leaves turning, and then another Mural Festival post. Here is YouTube. So I have been focusing on YouTube the past couple months. The net follower growth is not massive by any means. I can't see the impressions with the platform that I'm using. I'm trying to figure that out. And the engagements were slightly down too. So in focusing on YouTube, I revamped what the homepage looks like and rearranged the playlist a little bit more, and then started adding shorts. And the shorts are basically comparable to what like TikTok is, but it's the YouTube version of it. Because I know Katie Fisher had asked about TikTok. Asking other towns, a lot of towns don't allow their town on TikTok. It's a privacy thing, whatever, Chinese spyware, whatever you want to think. But the shorts is another way to get around that. So this is where the massive increase is in YouTube, is the views. It was up 426%. And you can see right where I started adding more videos, there's like a pretty big spike, and then it kind of drops down and then it spikes again. I'm usually I try and add at least 3 shorts per week. So anybody online that's listening on YouTube right now, please subscribe, because that will help our engagements and our subscriber rate too. These were the top videos, which happened to be shot by Connor. The first two, one was the Fraser revamp of the Find Your Flow, and the other one was the original one. And then another video about the bike park, which was actually a short video, and you can see that one got 1,000 views.
Wow.
Adam, this is another one that you suggested. You said, how do we compare to other towns? Which is a great question, right? So I did the town of Granby, Winter Park, and then I picked a couple other ones that were similar in size to Fraser, Crested Butte, and the town of Nederland. And so basically what I was seeing was, let's see, Fraser's audience size is above the competitor average. We have 5 times more engagements, 3 times higher engagement rate per post, and Facebook is our strongest platform at this point. Opportunities would be Instagram growth lags behind Winter Park. So we need to maintain our momentum, and then the reels and stories could drive further growth with that. So the wins overall for social media, and I'll just kind of give you a brief of what this all says, but you can go back and read it if you want. So overall, we had audience growth of 8.9%, and that was almost 1,000 new followers across all of the platforms. Impressions were up by 64%. Engagements were up by 32%. Instagram surged in engagement at up plus 189%, and impressions 171%. And the video views, which I said grew massively, not just with YouTube, but overall was 216%, and then YouTube was 426%. But that I think that's just because I've been adding more videos, so more people are
Yeah.
seeing them. It just makes sense.
Great.
Let's see, opportunities, the engagement rate, it was up 19%, but it trails Facebook. Sustaining momentum will be key going into the fall and winter. And then YouTube views were booming, but the engagement was low. So to me, that says just make more engaging content. By engagement, it's just people commenting on it and liking it and stuff like that. It's like any engagement on any social media. Right now, people are seeing it, but they're just not, saying anything about it or clicking on it. All right, the websites, FrazierColorado.com and then Explore Frazier. So this is Frazier, Colorado. This is our town website. Just under 9,000 monthly visitors. The average engagement time is 47 seconds. Top visited pages, our homepage and agenda center, and our visitors are from Denver and Phoenix again, which I always think is weird. It was like that last time too, Phoenix. Explore Frazier is 13,000 visitors. The average engagement time is almost 3 minutes. So they're sticking around and looking at stuff on that website, which makes sense. It's more informative and tourism based. Find Your Flow page is all mountain biking and trail specific. That's the #1 visited page and the homepage. And then our top visitors are from California, Colorado, and New York. And these were the top searched words to get to Frazier or Explore Frazier. Frazier events, they're roughly 30%. Frazier events, Frazier Colorado events, a Frazier Mural Festival. And this kind of speaks to what Sarah was saying, that events kind of draw engagement. And then Frazier Bike Park, which is good. These are the active ad campaigns, print and digital, Explore, Grand, the full page, and then the trail guide. And then this Google YouTube ad was launched a couple months ago, and that's getting some good traction, which is why we have the top page is Find Your Flow, because that's where that ad is directing people towards. And I was just thinking about this sitting there. I think another thing that I'll add is ad spend. And then if I have a digital ad, like you can kind of see the metrics on it, but some more metrics, like return on investment and stuff like that, I think would make sense for you guys to see. And then the Frazier podcast, there's some stats on that. I like it. I just don't know if it's worth the money that we're spending on it. So I don't know if you guys listen to it, if any of your friends listen to it. Podcasts are huge right now. I figured we'd experiment with it. I think it's a good idea, but if nobody's using it, I don't think it's worth our money. What's next? Fire and Ice 2026. I thought I changed that, but I didn't. It's actually February 14th, and that's easy to remember because it's Valentine's Day. I will be adding more stuff to the blog. I just added one about leaf peeping in Frazier. It's called Leaf It to Frazier. I posted on our Facebook page. I'm going to continue with more video because that seems to be getting more traction. The winter promo campaign, I'm going to continue with Find Your Flow, but do a winter twist on it. So you'll be seeing that rolling out. Continue to utilize YouTube. Working on a new live camera. I'm talking with a new company that has like a higher resolution camera. And then potentially a new spring event celebrating the start of biking and the bike park opening. Okay. Questions, thoughts, concerns, anything you want to see?
Where's the new camera going?
TBD. So the thing with the live cameras is they need to be wired into basically an internet connection. So you're kind of limited on where you put it. I've talked to a couple business owners that would be open to having it wired in. It's not a huge deal, but yeah.
For the bike event in the spring, is that a one-time or an annual?
Annual.
Okay.
Mhm.
Question. Are you involved with the film festival? In any way of promoting that?
We help promote it a little bit, but Connor's here to talk about that.
Good, if I talked to Sky High Youth Editor today about results and then reporting
Mhm.
after the fact, I think they can post that, getting carefully things.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
Mhm.
Good job.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yep.
Okay, up next is the treasurer's report. Lori.
Agenda. Agenda. So.
Good evening, Mayor and Trustees. Lori Waters, Treasurer of the Town of Fraser. Let's see. We're going to review our normal items, statement of funds, sales tax, short-term rental, remote sellers, and the budget expenditures. Yikes, there it goes. We're maintaining, there was the drop because of the big projects. Fall is obviously here now. The bike park is really looking great, and hopefully we'll be able to get some final rides before the snow flies. I did want to let the cat's been out of the bag for a while, but if you don't know, Joe Fuquay is retiring from the wastewater treatment plant from over 20 years of tremendous service over there. And your new wastewater superintendent is going to be Logan Ray, who already works there and has been under Joe's wing for 13 years. And we think he's going to do a really awesome job. And also, one of our seasonal laborers, Tyler James, is now one of your new wastewater treatment plant operators. We were really happy to get to retain Tyler with the town. He's been a great asset, and we all really like that young man. So we hopefully will get him on his way. So yeah, and then again, the public works, winter equipment maintenance, and yeah, we're looking at everything that we're gonna need to put on the budget. And getting ready to take the old street sweeper down to Denver, but the street sweeper may not be coming back. We might get rid of the street sweeper to save some money. We'll sell that maybe at Ritchie Brothers or one of the auction places, so that they can just rent a smaller, more efficient, smaller street sweeper that will be able to get into areas, because the big monster out there sometimes doesn't fit into the sidewalk curb cutouts and doesn't always get the drain pans real well. So that might be coming up. We're looking into that, but that'll be part of the budget talking that will be coming. So sales tax revenue, your September sales tax, it's August sales tax collection. You kind of can't see it because it meets right there at the top of about just above 600,000. That guy right there. Thank you for the assist, because they meet right there, because your sales tax for 2024 was about $3,233 less than the year before. A huge 0.51% lower. But again, I've been kind of tracking what other communities are talking about. We're maintaining, we aren't seeing the big ups and downs that some of the other communities are having. So I'm optimistic that we're cruising right along in our normal trend fashion. We will probably start to see it decline again like it usually does for off season, but I think we're gonna, fingers crossed, maintain the trend lines we've seen before. And then there's your short-term sales tax revenue. This was kind of a surprise because the August revenue, which is July, it's the collection of the July taxes, it went down this year. it was 10% of total sales tax revenue, but it was about a 5.2% decline from 2024. Got no explanation. It was super busy up here. But, just didn't get as many people maybe staying over, maybe going through, maybe, shopping and eating, but they weren't doing rentals. And then on to our remote seller. Now these guys have been going buster, the remote sellers. A lot of people have been purchasing online because you could see where the August graph there in the orange, just kind of maintained right along beside July. And it was higher than 2024, about 14.2% higher. So for some reason, online purchasing is a little popular right now. And then, oop, come on, there it goes. Yes, projects are getting completed. You can see your general fund expenditure actuals jumped up a lot from the month before. Sidewalks have been paid for. A lot of items are getting billed and paid for now. A lot of the other ones are maintaining about where they were, but you will see your Cozen's Ranch open space took a big jump up because we're getting a new bike park. But other than that, we're tracking well. I don't anticipate Cozen's Ranch to go over budget. It caught up is what it did, because that was kind of a whoops, 80% before we're at the end of the year. But once the bike park's done, the work over there, except for maintenance, is pretty well wrapped up. Any questions?
I like the addition of that sign.
What's that?
I said I like the addition of that sign.
It was thanks to trustee Julie White. She made the suggestion. Town manager Michael Brock said, "You will do it," and here you go.
However it went, I like that sign.
Actually, it keeps me very disciplined because now I have to keep those actuals up instead of letting them slide 2 or 3 months. So no, I'm glad you like it, and I thought that was a really good picture, and thanks to Julie, it's giving you guys a good idea where we're tracking on budget. No, not specifically.
Okay, thanks, Laurie.
You bet. Oh, wait, do I have one more thing?
You do.
Oh, good.
Stay up there. Budget committee appointment.
And once again, budget season is coming. I'm trying my darndest to hopefully have a draft budget by the 1st of October. I discovered that suddenly budgeting for what might be debt financing became a little complicated, but I'm working on that. So I do want to invite or see if you guys have come to any decision about that exciting budget committee volunteers and that would like to work with me. Again, it's about 3 to 4 meetings or as many as you feel you need to just sit down with 2 trustees and we get to review the budget. You ask me questions. If I don't know the answer, I find the answers. But if I do know the answer, which hopefully I'm better at it now because this is my 3rd budget now. We should be able to get through that and get everybody's questions and concerns answered. So let me know.
Any takers?
Okay, well, because
I'm
next
happy to do it.
time, what's that?
I'm happy to do it.
Julie? That's also up to the board. Yay, that's one.
I did it last year. My only caveat is I will not be here in November. So
Okay.
I don't know if that rules me out or not, but if whatever.
You'll be on the other side of the world, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be in India.
Difference maybe too.
Yeah. So I can't call
We
in.
do the meetings. We can do them Teams meetings. You don't have to necessarily come here. But because I will try to accommodate, without being obnoxious, I try to avoid, board meeting weeks so that we do them in off weeks. So you're not overwhelmed with too many meetings. So just, okay, I've got Julie White. Any other takers yet, or still contemplating?
I'm off grid.
You're off. You're off grid.
I could help if.
Adam,
Yeah.
sweet. So with no
I'm
objections,
stingy.
Yeah. We need a conservative person there. Yeah.
okay, so do they have to approve that or? Or
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And then you'll also both be the lucky recipients of the draft budget as soon as I have it ready. First in line.
Looking forward.
No, that's great, Lori, and thanks for volunteering, guys. I think I did the budget committee the first 4 years I was on the board, and it's definitely the most educational thing that you can
Same,
do.
I think I did it first
Okay.
couple times.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Okay, resolution 2025-0905, amending the contract with Cushing Terrell for the comprehensive plan update. Good.
Thank you, Mayor and Trustees. Garrett Scott, Town Planner. The item before you this evening is a resolution to amend the contract for our ongoing comprehensive plan project. So in summary, this update has been ongoing since May of last year. The comprehensive plan was last updated in 2010. So this is a much needed, long overdue update to this important guiding document, visioning document for the town. As we approach the adoption of the plan later this year, however, total invoice costs for the project are nearly at the not to exceed cost of $205,000 per the contract that was approved with our consultant last year. And in order to ensure the successful completion and adoption of this plan, an increase to that not to exceed cost in the contract is necessary at this time. However, I do want to note that this increase in the project's cost is within the funding that was appropriated in the town's 2024 and 2025 budgets for this comprehensive plan update. So the table shown here summarizes 2024 and 2025 budgeted numbers and actual numbers, starting in the first row with budget item 1045-370 under administration. This is for other professional services, under which the comprehensive plan is one component along with other costs. So what this notes is that in 2024 and 2025, approximately $250,000 were budgeted for this line item in both years. Of those funds, 150,000 was budgeted specifically for the comprehensive plan in both years. The actual columns come from invoice costs as well as audited, financial statements in the case of 2024. As well as in the case of this year, year-to-date invoice costs for the comprehensive plan, as well as year-to-date expenses as provided to me by Lori, our finance director. So in summary, last year, the costs invoiced for the comprehensive plan were below what was budgeted. And this year, we are still likely to track below the budgeted amount. However, we are getting close to the approved amount on the contract for the project itself. I'll briefly speak to a couple of the factors that are leading to this cost increase compared to what was originally approved and originally provided to us by our selected consultant. One of the factors is just a general extension to the project timeline. The original scope of work for the project noted adoption in May or June of this year. Obviously, we are past that timeline. The current schedule has us tracking for adoption in December before the end of the year. There are also some items that were completed by our consultant at the request of town staff that were considered out of the original scope of work. And those included some presentations to our Downtown Development Authority Board, as well as a presentation that was made to you all during our board retreat earlier this summer. In addition to more rounds of revisions than were originally anticipated to the downtown vision plan that's part of that scope of work. As you all are likely aware, that downtown vision plan that focuses on the Clayton Court area is really a key component and a key focus of this comprehensive plan update, and has been a real focus area as part of this process. So staff believes that the extra effort that was spent on ensuring that vision plan matches the community's desires is effort that was well spent on the project. I also just want to speak to the timeline that we are working towards to ensure that this plan is adopted before the end of this year. Staff is currently working with the consultant team on compiling the various pieces of this plan that have been shared with you all and the public up to this point, including our various goal, strategy, and action statements, our future land use maps, both for within the town and outside the town boundaries, and other documented surveys that we collected over the past year from those in the community. We are working to compile all those elements together into a cohesive, unified plan document. It is anticipated that that document would be made available for public comment and review near the end of October. After that public comment and review period, it would go to the Planning Commission in November for a review and recommendation of approval. We are then anticipating a workshop with the board during the second meeting in November to review and discuss the plan and follow up with adopting the plan the first meeting in December 3rd. And certainly we can absolutely take a pause and spend more time to review and incorporate feedback and comments in this process, but this kind of assumes a best case scenario. Are there any questions with this at this point?
I do. So on the, what is this, additional planning services? You had 4 points and you went through them. You had 4 points and went through them, and 3 of them make sense to me, but the first one is extension of project by 6 months, and that's $42,000. Why does them needing more time equal more dollars if we're under a contract?
Sure. I think, you know, generally speaking, as projects go on longer, there's additional time for coordination and communication and just, I think, general extension of certain tasks. I do think that 42,000 number is a bit high of an estimate for that specifically. I do think other items maybe you know, utilize more consultant time than they may be estimated or justified in that additional scope letter that was provided. But I just broadly speaking, it's I would say a cause or a result of just tasks taking longer than initially anticipated, and therefore more time and more cost being expended to
that's on us.
complete the scope of work. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you can go back to that slide, but it seemed like, so you budgeted how much per year in the contract? Okay, you budgeted 150, that's 300,000. But the contract was only for
205,000.
So why do we budget that much if the contract was only 205? I mean, it seemed like there's we have some wiggle room there to approve.
That's a fair point. I think the reason why this is coming before the board is that even though there are funds budgeted and appropriated, the contract is still a contract amendment and a cost increase above what was originally approved. So our understanding is that it has to go to this board for approval, even though there are funds budgeted for this. I just wanted to conclude with a couple graphics. The consultant is, again, working on this cohesive plan document. We have recently arrived on what would likely be close to final in terms of the formatting and visual aspect of this plan. And I think it's a place that it's landing in a place that's consistent with our award-winning logo and branding guidelines and am really excited to share with you all in the community in about a month. So again, this is the draft cover page, table of contents with colors and typography that's consistent with our branding guidelines. The plan document itself will be filled with a lot of high quality images of the Fraser Valley and our community, many of which have been submitted by Fraser residents and Grand County residents in our annual photo contests, and uses these 6 kind of guiding values or principles here on the left that were identified through various rounds of public engagement as our community priorities, and ties those 6 values to our various visions, strategies, and actions that will be contained throughout the plan. So I just wanted to provide you all that teaser of kind of how the look of the plan is shaping up, and very excited to share it with you all here in the near future. So as again, just staff recommends approval of this resolution. It would allow us to execute a contract amendment to increase that not to exceed project costs, and again, allow the plan to be adopted before the end of this year. And at this time, I stand for any further questions. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve
Oh,
resolution.
we got a hand up.
Oh, sorry.
If you could approach the mic and let us know who you
I
are.
had my head down in my notes.
Just state your name and if you live in the town of Fraser.
Brittany Frenette Fraser. I guess the question was on the timeline slide. When it goes to the public for review and comment, what's the process then if the public does have comments? Yeah, I guess generally what's the process?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. Great question. So we are anticipating putting the plan on the town's website and making that known through, social media and email and other forms of communication that it's available for viewing, and providing comments directly on that document online. And then certainly the public will be available to attend our planning commission meeting and board meetings to express their feedback as well. Certainly by the time it goes to the planning commission in November, we'll have a summary of public comments, and likely would, discuss them and address them during that planning commission meeting. So
Yeah, so we had the 2 open public meetings with that at the rec center over the last year
correct.
and a half.
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah, so we had 2 open
I remember
houses
that.
earlier this year. One I want to say in June, and then one in March. And then we also had a survey that was done last August, kind of a existing conditions, capture the voice of the community type of survey. So yes, one more round of public engagement, certainly to come.
And Garrett, they came to several music in the park events, didn't they?
The music in the park event that the consultant and staff attended last year in August was part of that initial outreach in the first survey. And then they were at Music in the Park again this summer to advertise the second open house that was held in June.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Okay,
I'd like to make a motion
yeah.
to approve resolution 2025-0905, amending the contract with Cushing Terrell.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, board.
All right. And now we're moving on to resolution 2025-0906, rendezvous trash enclosure agreement.
Thanks for
Garrett
coming.
and Alan.
I'll pull up a presentation here, brief one second. Good evening, Mayor and Trustees. Alan Sealiff, Assistant Town Planner. Tonight I'll be presenting on this request for a license agreement in order to construct a trash enclosure for the rendezvous community. So The request was received by staff earlier this year from Rendezvous, Colorado. We have a representative today, Scott Komiak. He'll got a few slides to also share following my presentation to speak on the request. But the request is to construct a community trash enclosure on town property. So that's the reason that we need to consider a license agreement roughly across the street, across Rendezvous Road from St. Bernard Church. It's intended to serve portions of the Rendezvous neighborhood that don't currently have access to a centralized trash area. Many of the multifamily townhome subdivisions within Rendezvous have their own, but the single family portions do not. The proposed location doesn't reduce the required open space for Rendezvous. There's a specific calculation required by the Rendezvous Plan Development District Plan. That full amount with an additional balance was ultimately dedicated to the town over the course of the development and approval of Rendezvous. So this relatively small area, we've got numbers in a couple of slides, less than an acre though, would not reduce that open space amount below the required amount. And then the adjoining license agreement that, if this is approved, would stipulate the allowance to construct this and then formalize the maintenance and operational responsibilities. So the yellow star on here is the proposed location generally. It sits between two town utility facilities, a water pump and a water treatment building on the west side of Rendezvous Road at this location, again, right across from the St. Bernard Church. This location was requested because it is essentially downstream of the two main feeder roads for the single family portions of Rendezvous. So Pioneer Trail and Rendezvous Road split a little bit further up from this road. This location ensures that drive-by traffic from both kind of necks of the neighborhood will have easy access to it on the way out to Highway 40. Included in the packet was the full design plans. Here's just a couple of graphics for it, but it's proposed to be kind of 2-3 dumpster enclosure screened locations right off of a one-way turn. So this will be a little turn off, a pull off right adjacent to Rendezvous Road. Included in this, there's an adjacent trail that goes through the open space that'll have to be slightly relocated. So this is accommodating that relocation. And then there'll be additional landscaping installed to kind of further buffer and screen the trash area. And then the elevations here, the proposed trash enclosure is consistent with the other trash enclosures in the townhome portions of the community. So it'll match what's already in other areas of the neighborhood. The slide here just provides an overview of the couple of code citations that staff look to for guidance. So section 7-7-40 provides an overview of maintenance and operational requirements for all trash enclosures and containers in the town. This is specifically cited in the proposed draft license agreement that the Rendezvous, ultimately the HOA, I believe, will be maintaining, and we'll have to keep it up to these standards. And then section 19-4-160 is in the land use and development standards section of the code. Just requires that trash areas are either screened or landscaped. We encouraged both, and Rendezvous management is proposing to do both of these efforts to ensure that it's a minimal of an impact as possible. The license agreement that's been drafted, proposed by the applicant, reviewed by our town attorney and staff. Just a few of the main highlights of this are that it differs from some of the other town license agreements in that it's proposed to be an automatic renewal. The thought here is because this is a proposed permanent addition, it'll be constructed. It's not going to be easily removed or revoked like perhaps some of the other license agreements that the town brings up on an annual basis. Construction and maintenance, it stipulates that the construction and ongoing maintenance are solely at the licensee's expense. And then there's provisions for when it may be terminated. So basically 1 and 2 here, terminated for a cause of not being operated in compliance with requirements or some physical issue, dilapidation, issue needing repair and not being addressed in a timely manner would be cause for the town to be able to revoke the agreement. Otherwise, the agreement can, of course, be mutually terminated upon agreement from both parties. And through any of these, if it's terminated, full removal and restoration of the site would be on the licensees of the rendezvous community to remove and restore the area. So the question at hand for the town board is to whether or not to approve this proposed license agreement. If the Board of Trustees opts to move forward with it, staff recommends two conditions of approval be included, and these are included in the proposed resolution. But just that any remaining review comments from staff are addressed. These mainly relate to civil review of the plans that were provided. They're not 100% yet. We've gone through one round of review, but we anticipate at least one more round. And then as part of the license agreement, that an updated legal description and graphic be provided as that Exhibit A to formalize the agreement. And just with the caveat here that if the board wants to entertain or request any additional conditions, we could accommodate that into the resolution and license agreement as well. I believe that's it for me. I'm happy to answer any questions or invite Scott Cognac to come up here and speak more on the need and the and kind of the request that it's addressing.
Okay. So I took a walk through there today just to get some exercise walking up the rendezvous trails. I started from the parking lot to the right of the museum there on the rendezvous property, walked across the bridge, right through that same area, across the street and up to the trails. That piece of property is adjacent to the property that we own at Rendezvous Park, right? Or Mountain Man Park. We met with the folks from the Historical Society to evaluate that for improvements. I'm opposed to putting their trash facility there. When I came through there also, and I pulled by their old sales office, and to the left of it, they have probably 4 yellow recycle bins, and they have room there to put a trash facility on their own property,
Katie, that's actually our property.
where they have their right on the road there.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's personally a better spot because of and then going to Kevin Davlin's memorial and sitting in the Catholic Church and looking across through the windows over at Byers and that kind of unobstructed view with the trees. So then instead of that, people will be looking from there down the road at some trash enclosures and then Byers. I don't know. I don't like the location.
Is this our property or their property?
So this is the town's property. It was dedicated to us for the open space. They exceeded the requirements for the open space conveyance. So, and then so we've had, good conversations with them about it and the need and the problem that they're trying to address. And, part of the reason for the drop to be constructed in the first place is really to meet some of these trash issues, especially in the rendezvous area. I think, and not to point fingers or anything like that, but one of the biggest issues we had was some of these dumpsters in that area that were overwhelmed with trash bags. And there's absolutely a need for some trash disposal in that area. And this location was seen as a good location to look at putting this. We can pull up on the maps where that is in proximity to where those sheds are. When we had the workshop out there with the sheds, we did talk about relocating them closer to the Mountain Man Park, especially the one that's farther away. And
but it's part of that walkway, that historical walkway. And if anybody's been through there too, to go up to the old cemetery. It's cool. Have you guys ever walked up there and looked at it? Okay. These people were born in the 1830s, Cosins. It's amazing. And I think that we need to honor that little corridor from the museum across the bridge to that trail system and to embrace that, not put a trash enclosure there. So that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
I agree. I think it's a bad location. I mean, it's right next to that shed that we looked at when we talked about restoring, and you're gonna put a trash, that trash enclosure there, that seemed like a bad spot for it.
Come on,
Plus, it's right along the
cool.
Fraser River.
So this is one of the reasons we wanted to bring to the board before
Thank
they got too deep into it, just to see if the board was supportive of this, so that not too many dollars were spent, but and I think Scott, if you want to speak to it a little too, I think it'd be helpful, but I mean, our conversations about the location of it has been, with it, if the board were to approve something like that, it would need to be overbuilt, overscreened to address any type of aesthetic issues. But at the same time, it is what it is. That's where people will be taking their trash, so.
Right. So now, where did you say that we also own the piece where their old offices?
No, just for the
maintenance?
recycling.
No, there's trash there.
Just where those little trash.
There's got to be a better spot for this.
Unfortunately, there isn't. I mean, I've lived in Rendezvous since 2001, and the front door, everybody drives in, and the first thing you see when you come into Rendezvous is the trash, which is certainly not attractive at this point.
Well, they could
And
build containment around it.
they could possibly do that.
Enclosures, like we're gonna.
Yeah,
move on
I
to
mean,
one.
I think there's a berm. I mean, it does say there's a berm in front of this, which is good. So it would block most of the view from the church, I believe, with that berm. I mean, Scott can probably say more than I can, but I'm also concerned about the back of it. And it looks like there's some change in grade. I don't know if it qualifies as a berm, but I think to me that would be really key from Mary's Pond not to be able to see the backside of these either. So it's a problem. There's no really good place anywhere in Rendezvous.
Well, and that's a very busy road too, because all the construction traffic goes on that road. They can't come in anywhere other spot, right? It's a really busy road. And then you're going to put it,
Well, we had come in a busy road and put it in where it is now. It's just as busy. You come right in the front entrance, it's the first thing you see, and it's the same road.
but it's around a curve too.
No, it's right there. I mean, when you come in,
Off
No, no,
of
I'm talking about
Rendezvous.
whether your proposed is it curved right around the park, and then it's right there. I agree with Katie. I think it's a bad location.
I have a totally different issue. I'm looking at this and wondering why we're considering a license agreement. I mean, they dedicated some land to me and even if they dedicated extra, that doesn't mean they have a credit to our open space. I mean, I'd be in favor of swapping some land if you want to keep our open space whole. No net loss to the town. This is our open space. Why would we want to construct dumpsters and add that smell to our park and that kind of stuff? That's my concern is no net loss.
Right. I mean, I think Rendezvous has been really good business partners, and I think we should work with them as best we can, but I think this is a bad location for it.
I'm also
be honest.
concerned about Sojourn. Are they going to get a similar facility, or are they going to use the Fraser facility, the Rendezvous Winter Park?
no, that's a
It's
different
trash
developer.
enclosure.
Sojourn
Is it?
totally different.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. Yeah.
Don't confuse them.
No worries. I thought it was one and the same. My
No.
apologies.
Okay.
That's not a concern.
Showtime? What do you got to say? What do you got to say?
Go for it.
It's not their problem. It's a problem though. Gotcha.
Scott, you want to say any words?
Yes,
I have a quick presentation that.
Oh, there you go.
I'll pull that for you.
Well, what a warm up. Thank you. My name
You're a
is,
nice guy, but
yeah, my name is Scott Komiak with Rendezvous, Colorado. Appreciate you guys listening to us tonight. We do have this proposal here, and just first to start off, maybe trash facility is the wrong
name for this. So we'll walk you through this, but as Peggy mentioned, there's been a long history of this. We've actually, it's one of the things that when I first started working up here like 3 years ago, looking for locations for this, there is not a really great location, and we have some objectives that we wanted to fulfill. So let me show you that. Let me start off with this. Really why the change is really required here. As we know, the current facility sits on land owned partially by the town and partially by the developer of Rendezvous. And that has been there for a long time. Peggy, you probably know a lot more than I do how long that's been there.
Since day one.
Since day one. So this parcel here is, not on the town property, but around that is slated for development. It was always intended to be temporary, those facilities there. And really the multifamily neighborhoods within the community all have their own enclosures, trash enclosures for the townhomes and all the multifamily there. But the single family neighborhood was never designed with really any trash facilities. They were really going to be taken care of by themselves with a single family. Over time, basically that was over time that I think the initial central trash facilities were put in really to help a lot of the second homeowners really on the way out of town, kind of putting their trash in there. So that was something that Rendezvous did, but that was designed to be temporary at the time. I think over years they've looked at different locations, and we've looked up within the single family neighborhoods. One of our objectives really is to put it first of all in a location that's not on US 40, because the current location now gets poached by people just driving down the highway as well. And so I think that's a big part of the reason why the overburdening of that facility is really from people just driving by and seeing that it's not protected, it's not covered, and it really does look pretty ugly out there. So we don't like that. I don't think anyone really likes that, and there's really no argument there. Secondly, we really didn't want, again, we don't want to put it next to anybody's house. I think as a built out community, that's a really important element here, not to put it across anyone's house. And then lastly, it has to be in a centralized location where, people driving by it, you don't want to put it where people are backtracking, and it really wants to be off US 40, but on the way out of the community here. So that's really the criteria that we looked at this. Looking at the next slide here, you could see here some of the pictures of the current location here. It's not covered, and again, how we have to manage it now, the HOA basically manages this through our property management company. We have a video camera from our old sales office onto this area here. We actually talk to Allegiant. Allegiant actually, property management comes by there very often to monitor this area here during the peak times, Christmas, 4th of July. That is really the time where it really gets overburdened here. And really, this is not an uncommon issue with resort communities, with second home communities here. Really, the answer is to increase service during those busier times here. So that's how you handle it. But right now they're uncovered. There's no landscaping and screening. It's basically unpaved, so we get complaints about the rutted nature of the dirt roads there. And also it does become a nuisance with attracting bears and wildlife in that area there. You can see here's a picture here of the current location here in red. And again, right off Rendezvous Road, which is a busy road to come into here, and where we're proposing it. And looking through the different locations along Rendezvous Road in the community, again, trying to meet that criteria, not being close to someone's home, being on a way out off of US 40, and also not being on a blind turn or a corner here. This is really where the best location after years of looking at this was to be determined. We worked, again, we talked to town staff early on with this just to kind of say, okay, what do you guys think about this? And this seemed to be a location that wouldn't impact existing homeowners, but meets the other criteria here. I do agree the trash enclosure and what it looks like, I think is we need to make this attractive. And right now we have this, engineered paved roadway that would actually take you off. You can make a left, you would be making a left-hand turn into there, be a one-way in and out of this. As you kind of come into the facility here, we would be covered facilities with screening on it, as well as trees in the front and the rear of to screen it from both sides of this, with the accommodating the trail. To answer your question about the grades do drop off to the west here off of that trail. It just starts to go down into that Fraser River Basin here. It's not a big site here. And again, that's good because we don't want to take up a lot of land here, but it's something I think would be very functional, a lot more functional than it is now, because right now people drive into a dirt parking lot and do a basically there's no really directional, and you're turning around in making a U-turn in that area and coming out. This would be a much more smoother operation. It is covered, and it is screened here from the church and from different homeowners, and also from the west. You could see the facility here. One thing that it'd be covered, wildlife resistant here. We're considering putting like a solar lighting downcast, obviously meeting the dark sky requirements. Just that is made motion censored, that when you come up to it, you have some light so you know where the gate is and so forth. And we have planning on a security camera that would go right to the property manager, so they would know if there's any issue there, or if there's any piling up of bags outside of the facility that need to be addressed right away. And I think that's one of the things that would be even better than it is today, because right now it comes from our construction managers to the property management company, and this is going to be a lot clearer. The sizing of the facility is been sized to accommodate really the growth, and also considering that it's not an US 40, we don't expect to have as much demand, but we still have it a little bit larger than we think we need it. The facility itself is designed to be similar to what is really out there now as our trash enclosures. One of the things I've been talking about lately is that we've been having in other locations more bears kind of climbing into these things. So we're looking actually maybe putting even where it's open above the gate there, putting screening up there as well to kind of keep wildlife out of there. Just again, I think that would keep it safer, cleaner, and I think and also it helps screen the facility here. We also, again, the landscape itself, going back to that landscape, it does berm up in front here off the road here, and we were going to put some coniferous trees up there, evergreen trees in there to kind of help buffer and screen that. And with, I think, these buildings being enclosed here, I don't think they'll be noticed. They're all in the same scale as even the existing log cabin to the north of it right there. So I think that part looks pretty well. Alternatives, as I mentioned before, we looked at a lot of different locations here. It's really challenging. You'd be surprised. I mean, first time when I came up here, I said, well, there's got to be a location. Well, this, really has been difficult. Each location has its challenges. This seems to be the one that seemed to meet the criteria and work the best. We did put a survey out to the overall community, because technically, if you take all the trash enclosures and all the multifamily communities within the whole association, there would probably be enough trash facilities to accommodate the whole community there, and with enough additional service, but that was resoundingly denied by a few of the sub associations. So I thought that would be a really good idea without adding additional facilities. So that did not work. So we're down to looking at I think the last and best site that we can accommodate here. Trash is really the number one complaint that with the association right now. Being on the board, we hear this. We get people calling in saying, "Can we clean up the front entrance here?" And I think this solution here really becomes a secure, safe, clean, paved, convenient. I think aesthetically, I mean, maybe we'll have to rebrand it, not trash enclosure, and call it something nicer. But I think it's going to be much better than it is today. It'll be, I think, an improvement to the overall community here. Not being on US 40 is going to be very helpful. I think it'll be less time by our property management company monitoring this. And actually, I think it'll be maintained much better here. So that is generally not my pitch for that, but I understand all your comments, and I'm here to address any questions you may have.
So
for your information, every Sunday, all winter long, we have an Allegiant person stationed at the trash enclosure.
Remember what?
Every Sunday, we have a full-time Allegiant person just sitting there in their car.
Property management.
Oh,
So my thought is, because you said that both sites are small, the resources that you would be putting into this, it seems like you could design something that doesn't look like a trash enclosure, and even with a combination lock on it. Because if it's your homeowners that are using it, they would know the access code. And
The people without the code are just gonna leave their trash.
Yeah.
well, if you do have cameras, and things are tracked, then
It's, yeah, I mean,
It's-
it's
But they're
really
driving
hard.
Out of town. There's
Yeah.
tourists driving out of town.
Yeah.
They don't care if
This
they're on
one's-
camera. Drop my stuff
Okay.
and go.
Carry it out the window.
I'm sticking with it.
If I could have a quarter for every discussion I've had to have about trash.
Yeah, I bet
I
you.
tell you.
I
And
bet
it's, and again, like, you keep on thinking, well, let's just put a lock on it, but it's exactly
Yeah.
correct. People just drop their bags in front of it.
Yeah.
And so really,
And
the
not attract
answer
it.
is monitoring it with this camera on it and also additional service during busy times. I think this is gonna be a much better solution being off of US 40.
People leave trash at the
Or dis-
wastewater or the water treatment plant.
or
They
disguising it.
generate-
Yeah,
Right
you've
now,
got a big piece of
it's-
property here.
It's a
that
trash
you could
magnet.
spend- I don't know how much money you're planning on spending on this, but you could enclose a structure, you could pave this dirt area and put
Hide it
security, I mean, yeah,
trees and-
camouflage it, whatever. It seems like that'd be a better solution than building a whole new facility. I don't know what you're planning on doing with this lot. Is this a rendezvous property?
Oh, yeah,
It's
it is a
split.
rendezvous. Well,
It's half ours, half theirs.
It's half.
There it is
But
now.
that's partly the town of Fraser's mail facility.
So what are you planning on doing in that land once you move the dumpsters?
It's zoned for mixed use, so commercial and residential.
So
I would anticipate the town supporting some type of mixed use development on that parcel. I mean, we do own this kind of strange chunk of land that's kind of right there in the middle of this area. If you look at the property assessor map, you can see that pretty clearly. I would anticipate that being promoted for some type of commercial development there. I mean, given its proximity to the highway and the ponds and the river and the Fraser
Hotel.
Trail. I mean, it's a
There's-
piece of real estate. I don't think
Yeah.
you want to have trash services on that.
There's also a local movement. Have you heard about this? That
Where are they going now?
to reclaim the balcony house, the core of the balcony house, and rebuild it in the area of the museum and establish a ski museum here in Fraser.
That would be great.
And that would actually be a really good location for it. And then we can hide that
House lately.
trash enclosure behind the ski museum, Anyway.
You know what? When I'm looking at, and of course I'm a Grand Park resident. I used to live in a house in Grand Park where there was a trash enclosure directly across the street. There's in my current neighborhood on Meadow Trail, I'm staring at the house. The dumpster enclosure is literally on the piece of property of one of the houses. I understand that you guys chose not to do that, but now you're in trouble because you don't have a trash enclosure. And it does feel like you're pushing this problem on the town rather than
Okay.
to say, sorry, homeowners, like we need a trash enclosure. It has to go here.
Yeah.
Well, it was originally designed that way a long time ago. And it's, evolved over the years. And it was made clear from the beginning that that was a temporary fix for those trash facilities to be located on that area here. So I'm just looking for an answer for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easier to sell a home when someone knows I'm buying a home next to a trash enclosure than to put a trash enclosure next to someone who bought a home that wasn't next to one. So
Yes.
it's right. It's a rendezvous issue for sure. And it's unfortunate that it wasn't thought about when you were selling these properties. But
Well, I think back in the day, no one really considered the bears. and everybody had their own little trash cans. And that obviously does not work on a community-wide basis. So this was the secondhand thing. They have even talked about taking the infamous turnouts and putting trash in the middle of those. That would there'd be a riot in Rendezvous. So you'd have more problems than you've got now. So I know that I'm sticking my neck out for Rendezvous because I know there's going to be people upset. There's people upset because we're building a hotel. There's just, people don't like change. And, we've got to solve a problem. I don't really like this any more than any of you, but I don't see any alternative. And I think if we figure out the landscaping, which you are saying that it falls off in the back, so that's going to make it real obvious, and you're landscaping with aspen trees, which is wonderful in the summer, but not so wonderful in the winter. I mean, I think if you reworked some of the grading in the back and added a berm and really tried to berm this so you really couldn't see it from the church or from Mary's Pond, you'd have a lot more success with the neighborhood and probably with the board.
They're just building.
So,
And I think on the rear, again, it's a tight location before it drops off, so it's hard to put a berm in that location because it's naturally going the opposite direction there. But I think that's where putting as many trees as we can in that area to screen it. And again, I think what the thought is that facility is going to be staying dark in the rear, and it's really going to be the trees in the foreground of it, and you're going to see basically a dark structure behind it. So that they thought that it's just going to go away.
well, I think if you incorporated more spruce and less aspen.
We could do spruce, it just the size, I just didn't want to oversize it, put a giant spruce where in a little spot.
I'm pretty much in agreement with Peggy that there probably aren't very many good options out there, and this is probably the better of what is available. I wanted to circle around to my questions on why a license agreement rather than
Sure.
let's swap some acreage and keep our Fraser whole.
Yes, well, I think on the open space land, my understanding is that, and actually maybe you can help me with this discussion.
It was discussed a little bit early on, at least in terms of potential property sale, if that was to be considered. I assume the land swap would be the same, but since the area is used as open space, it's not just like a regular, I don't know, a house or a
But this
lot
is an
that's been used.
inappropriate use for open space.
Right,
So-
well,
So that's where I'm saying,
well,
just
just
make us whole and you can have that property.
to finish the thought on that, because it's specifically for a public use, state statutes dictate that would have to go to a vote of the people. So it is something that would be able to just be decided by the board, even it would go to a larger question in terms of any sort of divestment of town property.
So
A
license,
bigger hurdle.
are you paying rent then on a license agreement?
No, I mean, if this is going to be a community benefit, really, it's going to be, if it was to be paid rent,
It's-
the association would be.
The Rendezvous community, it's not the
Not for-
Fraser community at a whole.
I'll push on.
But it would be open to the public, it's not gated.
It's,
Well,
I didn't-
The trash enclosure shouldn't be open to public, right?
it's a rendezvous specific.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure
not
Scott
sure
doesn't
if
want
you
to
could-
say that.
no, right.
well, I mean, I don't think you can
It's
kind of really, but
hard to
again,
do
it's not going to
something.
be locked.
Yeah. I don't know, another concern I have is even though this isn't on 40, there's nobody around to keep an eye on it.
That's where the video, there'll be video surveillance and going directly to the property management.
Yeah,
And that's really, again, the answer to these is really to service it as much as you can to make sure when there is an issue,
yeah.
when someone drops a bag in front of it or it gets over full,
Mm.
you actually get on that right away and basically call for additional service.
Is this
So,
able to call? Or do you anticipate the town being able to call?
The town can, anyone can make the call, but I mean, basically, the video is gonna go to our property management company for the association.
I guess my question, maybe I didn't get it right. If the dumpsters are overflowing and it looks neglected, can the town take the initiative and call for you guys to get things picked up or cleaned up? Or
That would be something we'd be willing to add to the license agreement if that's something you want, but again, way the license agreement is structured here is that if the town says there's an issue, and we don't address it within a certain period of time, that's when you can basically say, this is not working, guys. The license agreement's gotta go away.
And that code citation that is in the license agreement, I
After
believe
they've
the
already
code
built it.
itself states 48 hours. Within 48 hours, it has to be cleaned up. So that'd be part of the operation requirement.
So why not closer to Buckhorn cabins? I mean, you've got the 2 garages there and the closest homes kind of face
We could pull them
more
out.
west.
Again, I think one of the.
So is that to the south?
Mhm.
A little further south in that wider space?
There is, further to the south, there is a well, which we need to keep 50 feet from.
Okay.
And I think,
I know there's kind of a low
Yeah.
basin there. Not sure what that's,
and again,
the purpose
one
of
of the
that.
objectives is to keep it as far away from the residential.
You know,
Yeah, but those
so
main
Scott, my
garages-
big thing is that historical corridor that we spoke with,
Yes.
that's there, that walkway from the bridge across through there on over to the rendezvous trails. And I love the trails.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all.
Oh,
And I do, I love those trails. And to that the cemetery. And
And
that
and
it's
those-
amazing.
none of those trails are being interrupted.
So, but the walkway through, because I know from when you walk right across from the,
The bridge.
well,
You're
there's the
talking about right there?
bridge, but then I'm thinking the Catholic Church.
Yes.
You have to go straight and then
You go
you
here.
can walk along a trail to the
like
right.
that. So this would be here.
Okay, let's see. You better-
So you would basically come up the trail. This trail still continues
Okay, so
and
take
then
me
go
back
that
to
way.
the bridge with your mouse, please.
right here.
Thank you. There you go. I'll look at this one. Yeah,
So you come across, you could either go now from here, you can go this direction
yeah.
and then up into the cemetery. As you mentioned here, you go here, then you go up through here, up to the cemetery here. So none of that is interrupted
Yeah,
right here. And if you wanted to go the other way, you go right here. You would go around, this is the existing cabin here, and you would go right along this trail here, which this facility would be right here. So this trail stays right here, and we have trees in here to screen the facility from this trail, and so that stays unchanged.
So why don't you put it across the street?
And
You
the
got-
church property?
Catholic Church.
No, no. North of there, you got a road going in front of those condos.
Well, it's because one of the objectives is not to put it right out, guy, this back door.
I understand that, but maybe you should have
And this
thought
is-
about that
this-
5 years ago when you
This
started building those.
detention facility right here. This is water detention.
And the
Yeah,
land
sorry,
just
sorry.
south of that road is all church property.
South, yeah, this is all church.
So, they can obviously look at reevaluating other locations as they need to. Just for the focus for the discussion tonight, it's just if this is something the board wants to be open to, we're not. And that's.
All right.
that's
So
why
is
we
there
bring it
let's-
any other open space around Mary's Pond that you own that could be in trade somewhere that,
I think all the open space around the pond is owned by the town.
but maybe a lot that you have that you could section off an acre or whatever this is, I don't know how,
Well, again, it's intended not to be on US 40 because I think that's part of the
Yeah.
issue here.
but I'm talking about a trade situation.
Oh, a trade.
So you could add a little bit of open space that is on the edge of a lot, and maybe that would calm a lot of the issues at hand. Would,
Yeah, and there's gonna be open space dedications as a part of parcel down here, the 14E parcel eventually. And there's gonna be open space dedications, as a part of what we call the 12E, which is this, if this is developed in the future here, there would be there's open space dedication requirements for that.
that would make me feel a lot better because obviously open space is a hot button in this
Sure.
community. And if we allowed you to build a trash enclosure in the middle of open space,
Sure.
then Clark's gonna want a 7-story building in his open space. So, you know, we can't really be trading apples and apples. I think
Yes.
you kind of have to focus
And
on.
again, I thought, and the thought was that, you know, the 4E conveyance, we conveyed additional at the time, and maybe that should have been thought about at the time, not to convey that at the time, but, you know, that's just, it's a long-term master plan, and
So if we can screen it well enough on Rendezvous Road, why can't we screen it well enough on Highway 40?
well, on Highway 40, that parcel is gonna be developed,
That's
But-
the issue.
yes.
And that would be better served to have a hotel on it. It's and generating sales tax revenue as opposed to a trash collection site.
Or ski museum.
Yes.
All right, can we have a vote or move? I
Yeah,
think,
you can do it whenever you want, whenever you're ready.
well, I'm not gonna make a resolution.
Right, well, I guess that's true.
So,
Is there?
There is a resolution that could be, moved forward. We could table it, we could deny it.
Maybe we should table it and see if they can come up with a trade option that.
or explore other options for this, because
I'll take you around the neighborhood and show you that.
but I
Where-
don't feel like it's the town's problem. It's Rendezvous's problem,
Well,
right?
well, if there's a trade and we become whole, then it's,
Okay, that's,
then there's not really a problem. We've found a solution. And if the residents of Rendezvous feel like they can live with the location, then I don't really think that the town should create we don't like it there problem. If we
well, it's
come
right
out
next
whole.
to that historical structure. We talked about renovating, right? And spending
Right, but
money and
it'll
fixing
be,
up.
it'll almost look like another historic structure because it'll be the same color.
Removing that structure?
They're researching some costs for that. They're reaching out to their guy down in the Front Range that can relocate those buildings.
All right.
Okay,
Better
we don't need a motion to table, right? We can continue the conversation.
I think you want to just move the.
We should probably give
Yeah.
them some specific instruction if we're tabling it.
Sure, I mean, it's, again, we're willing to consider if looking at another piece of open space to kind of exchange with that is that's what you're looking for. I do think the location, and again, we can show you more exhibits of, there's not a lot of locations within, frankly, Rendezvous that Rendezvous even owns anymore.
Yeah.
Except for along US 40.
I'll reiterate again, if we're talking any kind of exchange, if it's deeding over this one part of it, that still would have to go to a larger vote. It wouldn't just be able to be the board, I believe. Is that right, Ken?
Well,
Yeah.
they're just talking about the license agreement.
Oh, okay, exchange for a license agreement.
Yeah.
So in this bottom right corner of the triangle,
Yeah, where it looks like it's dirt.
part where the well is,
Over in this location here,
yeah.
that's it's a detention facility here. I think the well, and I'd have to go, I think that might be a well,
Mhm.
and that might be a well.
Mhm.
And this is basically a water quality pond. And again, that's the other concern is that we want to be environmentally put this in the right location too. And that's why this location was checking all the boxes, because we were the proper distance from the wells
Yeah.
and not across from someone's home. And basically in a location that is off US 40 and in a location that was an easy out through for the community here. So it really checked all the boxes. Like Peggy said, we looked at areas up in the single family neighborhood where you would put in the emergency turnarounds, which was a potential. There were some areas in other areas that were in open space too, but they were on blind turns and corners. And this one and it's a straight section of road here, so. A lot of diligence has gone into it.
I'd like to make a motion to table resolution 2025-09-06 for further discussion with staff and other possibilities.
Okay, I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Okay.
keep talking.
Thank you.
Sorry, Scott.
Thanks for your time, Scott. Okay, we're gonna move on to updates and we're gonna let Connor Nelson talk about the Winter Park Film Festival.
Hi, Connor.
How's everybody doing? I gotta use the clicker at all and stuff. Easy. One button. Can't mess it up. Kind of. Two. Oh, three.
No, leave
I know this isn't gonna be as exciting as the rendezvous trash problem.
No, we can.
Sorry.
Maybe you should make a film about it. This would be interesting.
It could be a good comedy. I could see a comedy out of that. Is this the starting?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
You guys tried download it? You did download it to the computer?
There you go.
All right, well, thanks. I'm Connor Nelson. I'm the festival director of the Winter Park Film Festival. Thank you guys for letting me come speak today. This is the team. We have myself, Parks Thompson, who is the assistant festival director and the events director. And then we have Marissa Traver, the programming director. So she deals with all of the films that comes in. It's kind of a lot to deal with all the filmmakers and the files and getting them screened at the highest level, which we format with DCP, which is elite level. A lot of film festivals don't even go to that caliber. Amanda Miller, who's our volunteer coordinator and helps us kind of get all the ticket sales and everything at the event ready and moves us along. This is probably the most important page, our 2025 recap. We had 74 films this year, over 4 days. So that's an 80% increase this year from last year. We had 1,066 participants this year throughout the entire event. That's not specific to ticket sales, but that is just people walking into our events and being a part of it. The different countries that we had this year that we screened, we had 3 films from France, 3 from Canada, Switzerland, New Zealand, the United States. I think that's pretty cool to look at, that we're bringing quite a bit of culture into this county. We had 9 different film categories. It's the same as last year. So it's a pretty wide amount of films that we can choose from. You know, we have documentaries, both of the feature length and short. We have narrative, both of the feature length and the short. We have student films, which are college level. And then we have youth films, which are 18 and younger. And I don't know, I think we might be the only film festival doing that. We're trying to grow young filmmakers in Colorado and in this community. We have the Alive Film Challenge, which is a mental health and addiction film challenge. We're trying to get more films made about those topics. As we all know, that they are a heavy topic here in Grand County and Mountain Town specific. And then probably our biggest category is our action sports category, which I think is really fun to go see. We had 7 events outside of the Foundry. We had a kind of sponsor and filmmaker dinner party at Peggy's Cinema Cabin, Peggy Smith there. We had a secret screening at KFFR, Fraser Valley Distilling Trivia Night, Birdie Lounge after party after that. We did a DJ set at Devil's Craft. We had a rendezvous breakfast on the rooftop patio. We hiked up the mountain at Winter Park Resort. And then we had the Sin Vista Awards ceremony at Sunspot Mountain Lodge. These are our sponsors this year and our donors.
So we gave you $5,000? There we are, right up top. Okay, thank you.
Answered your
We
question.
could never put that logo. There we are.
I would
Thank
love
you.
to put your name up higher.
Um,
These are our
I'm bigger.
awards. As you can see, what I just went through, 9 different categories. They're handcrafted, made in Winter Park. That is lift cable with a film reel. Represents both of, film and skiing, which is beautiful. We have a local that made those, Zach Berkowitz, spent like 8 months designing them and coming up with that. And a lot of the filmmakers told us it was the best trophy they've ever received. So we take a lot of pride in that. As you can see, we filled up Sunspot the 2nd year in a row. Probably gonna have to move over to the big room this next year. And then you can see 2 filmmakers receiving their awards. This is some of the press we've received. The Guardian today released this. It's a film about called God Is My Witness. It's a local filmmaker out of Tabernash, Lindsay, and her film is pretty intense. If some of you guys went and saw it, it's about rape in the Catholic Church. But I think this highlights that not only are we getting harsh or hard to moving topics, but we're also building filmmakers in this community. Colorado Public Radio also wrote an article on the film festival. These are accolades. Got a lot more, and these are just a few of the big ones. I'm not going to read them for time's sake. Lee, who is a blind filmmaker there receiving an award, wrote that really long one, and pretty much it talks about how this festival changed his life, and he's excited to continue working with the festival in the future. There's a video that it's really short, tried to keep it short since I think I was only supposed to talk for 3 minutes. Here's some photos of some of the screenings, the program, one of the events, filmmakers, and the aerial show that we had at Sunspot, and a gorgeous food pic that Peggy did an amazing job on.
It was good.
Great. Well, it's excited to see it growing. Yeah.
It's moving up.
Oh, while they're pulling up the video, tell them about all the hits that you got from the event over at Barry's. The movie trivia.
Movie trivia was awesome. I think the colder weather kind of scared people away. Last year, Barry, I found this out this year that he had his best night ever on record with the film festival. So
Yeah.
we're bringing in business to anywhere we go.
Yeah.
Do you think the Sundance Film Festival, moving to Boulder, is going to help you grow this?
I've become friends with Kathy, who runs the Boulder Film Festival, and I was worried for her about Sundance coming in. And also Park City and Sundance have had some clashes, but I think it's going to generate a lot of work here, and it's going to show that Colorado should be a hub or one of the hubs for film. I think it'll be a great thing for Colorado. What we're seeing is studio films are going overseas or down to Mexico City. Netflix is trying to get out of LA. And basically what's happening to the film culture in the United States is we're probably going to see a rise in independent films. Independent films don't have the budget to make films in studios in LA, so they have to go out. And where is cheaper? Like anywhere that's going to give them tax incentives, but also where the views are the best or where the film takes place. Colorado has, for the most part, really good weather, sunshine, and you know, hopefully their film has some snow in it. But I see incentives coming to Colorado to draw filmmakers who are in that $5 to $10 million budget range. It'd be cool to see Grand County actually add some incentives to that too.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Darn it.
It's a community, not just kind of like that thing where all the film festivals are like, oh, you know, we're a family, we're a community, and then it doesn't feel like that, but here, it really does. And, yeah, it's been such a joy to be a part of it. It doesn't feel like networking here, it just feels like you're having conversations with really authentic and genuine people, and I love that so much. Winter Park seems to stand out just in the sense of we're getting different films and programming than we normally see. We don't also see a lot of festivals that implement disability focused films, mental health focused films, addiction recovery focused films, like entwined into all of the programming.
My name is Juan, I'm from Mexico City, and I have an amazing family where my youngest sister has Down syndrome, Monica.
I'll be honest, the hardest thing to share was the last part. Because up until then I had been doing really well for, you know, a couple of years. That's just part of it. But overall, it's just, it felt right sharing the journey, you know, as scary as it is, and like, well, especially for your ego, it's something that I was more than willing to let go of and just share. I think it's a lot more important to be open and feel okay talking about these things. It's a lot more common than you realize, and you start to realize more and more that this is a big issue.
So I just want like a couple little snippets to show some of the conversations that we have with filmmakers at the event. And it's not just about films, it's also about getting the community involved and engaging filmmakers and the community.
Could you give a brief intro of the last two? Because that was kind of really brief of who they were and what
Yeah.
their movies were about.
Like, Juan, he screened his film Pink Lagoon the first year of the festival 3 years ago. He flew in from Mexico City, had no clue anything about this, hiked all the way up Rendezvous
Because we
to,
didn't have Uber, so we was down at
yeah,
Gravity House.
hiked all the way up Rendezvous. And he enjoyed it so much, he's come back every single year, without even us asking him. He wants to be a part of it for the future. And
What was this movie about?
his movie is a narrative feature about his sister who has Down syndrome, and I think it moved a lot of people in
She
pretty much
wanted
the
to become a
entire audience.
ballerina, and he made this, you know, an hour and a half long movie. There wasn't a dry eye in the place. It's an amazing story.
And then Alex Schlopey, the last guy, he's an X Games gold medalist, world champion skier. His dad actually was here the first year of the festival, and he's an A-list first AC, so he's the guy that's pulling focus on the camera lenses. They don't just automatically pull focus. Somebody has to manually do it with the remote. And he's worked on films with like The Revenant, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Seabiscuit, Air Force One, Wanted, all the biggest productions. So that family is super, they've done a lot.
All right, cool. But Alex, give him backstory. Alex.
Alex missed the Olympics by one. He missed it by one person, and his best friend Josh Christensen got the spot and went and won the Olympics for the United States. And that kind of sent Alex into a downward spiral where he started doing meth and heroin and then tried to take his life in San Diego by jumping off a 150-foot cliff, which he survived. He was put into rehab and I think he did 2 years of sobriety and then relapsed back to heroin, back to the streets, where he found himself a year later and picked himself back up. And I think now he's 5 years sober and spreading messages. The reason he was at the film festival is he had a film about addiction and his kind of journey through that crash, and how he's building himself back up.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
A successful
Yeah.
event. Next year, you guys put it on your calendar. It's the weekend after Labor Day.
I understand that most people don't want to go to the movies because the movies that are screened, the Hollywood movies, do suck. They're very boring.
Yeah.
These films are not that. They move you in ways that you wouldn't understand until you go to the event. And the people that have gone to the event, thank you, probably would say the same thing. Yep. That's great. Thanks, Connor. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, updates. I'd like to say something regarding the beginning of the meeting, the open forum period. Just a reminder that I was elected to be mayor, and one of the tasks of being a mayor is running a respectful and efficient meeting. We've always had 3 minutes for open forum. It's unfortunate that Parnell Quinn didn't respect me, didn't respect the board, didn't respect the town, and went over that time. Thank you to everyone else that did stay within those 3 minutes. And if you do want to talk more, we have Mayor's Hour every Tuesday. You can also just reach out to town staff or myself anytime you want to talk about something. Mr. Quinn may have brought up some good points, but they were kind of clouded by his actions. So, yeah, let's use those avenues and let's keep these meetings civil and respectful. Thanks.
Okay. I have just a question. Is there going to be a wait list sign up for St. Louis Landing sometime in the next year, or do we know what that is? Could people
Now
are
that
asking?
we have the notice to proceed approved, we'll finalize and close on the capital stack and start construction with a fully financed capital stack.
Mhm.
If our next step is programming and what that all looks like. So it's kind of eating the elephant one bite at a time.
Okay.
But we absolutely will get to that criteria and what the board wants to see for like a lottery system or a scoring system, or how you want to prioritize tenants, if you want it to be completely a random lottery, or how you want that program to look like.
Okay.
So that'll be its own topic of the conversation. That'll
Probably evolve over the next 6 months.
it'll take place in more than 1 or 2 meetings, I'm sure.
Yeah, 6, 8 months. Okay, thank you.
Any other updates? Okay.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators under CRS section 24-6-4024E regarding property acquisition, to include the town manager, Michael Brock, and assistant town manager, Sarah Catanzari.
And our attorney.
And
Our attorney came over.
And our attorney.
I'll second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will come out of executive session and immediately adjourn. We won't make any decisions. So yeah, thanks for coming, everybody.
And Mr. Mayor, this session does not need to be recorded.
Thank you.
Brian, start respecting the long-term situation.